Hello, Richard Szerman. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. How are you?
You brought in a box of cookies. How do you think I'm doing?
Well, I hope I improved your day. That's what I like to do. Just go around and bring people cookies to improve their day.
Here's the thing, Richard. We always have a fun time. You're full of energy. You always bring something to the table as far as your personality. So you just bringing cookies, that's like that's just like euphoria. 9:19 is the time. Richard Szerman, if you're new to KHTS or you've never heard about Richard Szerman, well, that's just a shame.
Well,
what do you think from Alta Realty? What do you think people should know? If I say Richard Szerman, what would you like maybe in 3 words? Can you do Richard Szerman in 3 words?
Everything about real estate. 4 words.
Everything about real estate. Everything about real estate. Well, we can hyphenate something. We can make it happen. Good, very good. What exactly do you do?
Well, start with my CV. I've been selling real estate in the Santa Clarita Valley for a very, very long time. I think it's 27 years now. I think I started when I was just before my 19th birthday. So I've been at it for a while. And there's some things that we do that are somewhat unique, to put it mildly. For example, we do loan modification work. We save people's houses for free. We do a lot of foreclosure defense. We fight with the banks on a regular basis, and we win a lot more than we lose. And we've done
some features with people who you've helped, and on the brink, tears watching these feature stories that have been done with you, helping out, and it just the tears, and then it's a miracle. Somehow a miracle happens.
It's a matter of knowing where to bring pressure to bear. I mean, because ultimately you're better off. No math you're going to employ is going to tell you that the bank is ultimately better off foreclosing on a house in most cases. They're usually better off continuing to charge you an interest rate and collect money from you. And it's not that they don't know that, it's that sometimes it has to be explained to them rather slowly. And KHTS has been very, very helpful in that regard, because there's only so much that we can do to bring interest and to bring activity to this. Put a spotlight on this sort of behavior. But when KHTS helps us out and does a story on it, the community reacts, and thank you, community, and then we send that to the bank, and they see how many hits a story's had or how much interest there's been in a story. And all of a sudden, as if by magic, the problem that couldn't possibly be a loan modification, couldn't possibly avoid a foreclosure, is suddenly removed, and now we have a one in place. There's a lot more to it than just that. There's a lot of intricacies involved. It's a very difficult process. Oh, sure. But when you get community support, as we've been able to get through KHTS on these projects, it's extraordinarily helpful, and it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. It saves people's houses.
What do we need to know? It's Thursday, September 28th. Hot day. I thought it was fall. Apparently, I'm mistaken. It's going to be another hot day. What do we need to know right now as far as the market? What do we need to know?
Well, the market's it's pretty healthy. It's still moving north. It's still going up. It's doing so a little bit slowly. Interest rates are still low. We're a little concerned about what's going to happen in that arena, but then, we always are. But today what I would say is the big thing to know is we have a program called the Rental Rebate program, where if you are a renter, which would typically make you a first-time buyer, although not always. It's not a requirement, the JAR. But it's very, very hard in Santa Clarita right now to get into your first house. Rents in this town over just since the first of the year have gone up nearly 17%. I mean, that's extraordinarily high.
What's the average? Well, maybe a 3-bedroom, I don't know.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, single story type, 1,200 square foot. You're probably talking about $2,500 a month now, depending on where it is. Yeah, I mean, if you find one, if it's not as marquee an area, it might be 22. If it's a really nice area, it might be as much as 3,000. Yeah, rents in Santa Clarita are ridiculous. I know you can't
see my face. Listeners can't see my face, but
it's
Richard
shock
can.
And awe.
And it was my mouth was open quite large.
Well, it's also not just that. You put a property like that, if it's a nice property and it's in a nice area, it's also going to rent very, very quickly, and there are going to be multiple offers. There's that much pressure.
Is the inventory on the low side?
Yeah, it is. The inventory is on the low side for rentals. It's also on the low side with purchases as well, with resales and with new. That's just market forces. I mean, interest rates are low, and the bottom line is people want to live here. I mean, I've lived here most of my life. I get it. I like it here. I understand why other people would too. But that's where we kind of step in, because there are a lot, believe it or not, right now, in most of the cases we're seeing, you are better off buying a house than you are renting one. And I don't just mean for the long term, I mean in the short term. In most cases, you can get an FHA type loan, which is 3.5% down, and buy one of these houses or buy a townhouse, and your actual mortgage payment will be a little tick lower, including the HOAs and everything else, will still be a tick lower than it would be if you rented the same house. So we're seeing a lot of that. The problem that first-time buyers tend to have is they don't have the money to buy the house.
The
that
down
tends to
payment?
be the problem. Not just the down payment; it's the down payment and the closing costs. Because people do that a lot. They think, well, I've got my nest egg here, and I've got my 3.5%, and I'm good to go. And you can usually work closing costs into a deal if you're in a situation like that. And interest rates are low, so it's not necessarily a bad idea. But there is a better way. And so what we do is we step into the breach center. We make it a little bit easier for people to buy houses because we, well, to put it bluntly, we give them money. We have a program that we run called the Rental Rebate Program. Where we give you 10% of the rent that you've already paid back to go buy a house. So if you've been renting a place like this, let's say you're renting for $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. If you've been there for 2 years, that's $48,000 that you've spent, that you've essentially given your landlord, which is very nice of you to do. I hope they send you a Christmas card for that kind of money. But if you've given away $48,000,
See why I love Richard Sherman. You take a serious subject, but you make it so entertaining.
Well, it's a lot of money to get to be given out when you're not getting a whole lot back. You're not getting the tax return. You're not getting the equity benefit. I mean, it's rare. It does happen, but it's extremely rare that you're ever going to see somebody who's in a better situation renting than they would be owning. It's just, we're just an ownership society. That's the way we're built, and you can benefit from that. So the idea is we step into the breach. So if you've given say $48,000 over 2 years, is my little example there, we'll give you 10% of that. That's $4,800. So that's a pretty decent chunk of change, and that'll definitely help get you into a house.
And it's called the Renters what?
The Rental Rebate Program.
Rental Rebate Program. Where were you? And this is true story. Fun fact. Tori, when she was buying her first house, had the down payment. No one told her about the closing costs. I'm not kidding you. I was young. I didn't realize.
Well represented, too.
Okay. Didn't realize. Ate rice and stole soy.
Top ramen, also good.
I didn't even think of that. It was rice, minute rice every single night for dinner, and I had the packets that you take from, Panda or whatever,
I'm familiar.
for literally 30 days, and collected those closing costs in order to have. And I'm not kidding around. That's a true story. In order to get those closing costs.
Yeah. See, I've heard one too many of those stories, and often it doesn't end with I ate top ramen or stole soy sauce for a month so I could afford it. It ends with I couldn't afford it, so I couldn't buy the house. And so, and I think you'll find it's fairly common with realtors who work with a lot of first-time buyers. We love working with first-time buyers because it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of the few times you really get to be part of a first in somebody's life. It's to a degree almost like being like some sort of deranged wedding planner. Well, we get people all the time that come to us and will say like, okay, here's our deadline because we are getting married and we're having it by this night. We're having a baby. Those are the ones that scare the heck out of me. We're having a baby and we have to have a new house because that kid is coming home to a new house. Go. And that's fun. I mean, we like the challenge of that, my group and my team and I, but at the same time, we had a client recently who went into labor early. So it was loads of fun. And the seller,
now that's just their fault, Richard.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Can't fight nature on that. But it was hysterical because we talk about being a full-service real estate office. Luckily, the seller was very nice about this and very accommodating, and the seller's agent was just a sweetheart about it. So really, we all kind of pitched in here and made it happen. We had to not only do we have to close the escrow early, but we also helped out at the hospital, and they decided to keep her there another 2 days. So we started like that because, well, somebody comes to you and says, this is a life goal for me, and come hell or high water, my kid is coming home to a house that we own, especially if it's somebody you know. You got to make that happen. You can't miss that by a day.
How could you not want to work with Richard Sherman? Richard, please give out the phone numbers, give out websites.
Oh, sure.
Please. Who in Santa Clarita would not want to work with you?
Well, yeah, it's always entertaining. Best way to get a hold of me is my cell phone, as always, 661-714-1400. Let me give that again. It's 661-714-1400, and you can reach me at that number 24 hours a day. If I don't answer, go ahead and send me a text. That's always the best way to get a hold of me as my phone goes off. As if on cue. But if I don't answer, send me a text. I respond to my text messages, and if they back up, I always get to them within a day, if not a few minutes usually. But I do my best to keep up with it. You can also find me at... what website is it? richsherman.com, I think, is the web address. I apologize. I should be more up on that. For my age, I should know more about the web, but I just don't. We'll
text you. We can totally
text me is always best. Call me, text me. That's always best. Look me up, Alta Realty. We're very easy to find. My last name is spelled very, very strangely, so you can also get through me through the station as well.
I was going to say, go to hometownstation.com. We'll take care of you. Richard Sherman, always a pleasure, and super duper wonderful today because there are cookies involved. Coming back with traffic. Don't go away.